March 21st, 2022. Welcome, spring. Yesterday was the vernal equinox, where the same amount of day and night is our experience. Whereas in another part of the world, the autumnal equinox is coming at that time, ushering in autumn and winter, and the dying of one season into another, whereas now is the birthing of a new season for here in the Northern Hemisphere. It is a time of hope and renewal, and hopefully of some positive changes in our world, of positive intentions that we set forth for this new growing season. There is nothing more certain in our world than constant change. And it is this change that we truly must embrace at our peril to try to make things stay the same or to even bring back the past. For it is then when we recognize that it is impossible and detrimental to the present to try to resurrect that which is already gone. We must always move forward. We must always embrace the change, the new, the healthy, and the potential new awarenesses that come from this type of renewal. At our core, we desire often not to have change. Change brings up fears, uncertainty, and the fear of the unknown being such a deep-seated fear that many of us cling to that which we know instead of reaching towards that which we don't know. So we have here a struggle, an internal struggle that sometimes is externalized. We see it outside of ourselves, where we reject the new and try to hold on to the old. There's a lot in our news these days with the war in Ukraine, initiated by Russian government, trying to restore the old Russian Empire at its peril, at Ukraine's peril, at the world's peril. So here we are at a crossroads yet again of an uncertain future, not only for Ukraine and Russia, but the world. Yet our futures are always uncertain. However, what is something that is certain is that we must tune into our hearts, our heart wisdom, and get out of that headspace where ideas put forth all kinds of actions that may very often be regrettable because they come not from or through the heart. So many other issues on the world stage with the pandemic. We have round 3 with the variant BA2 that is now taking effect in places that had thought to have warded it off or conquered it, like Taiwan, like New Zealand, even China experiencing resurgence. So here we are with looser restrictions on our interactions, on our travel, on our mask wearing. Many of us never did embrace the mask wearing. But there are other masks that need to be dropped, more so and more importantly than the one that we had used to cover our noses and mouths during the pandemic. And those masks have to do with our innocence or our lack of culpability. Because truly, what is happening on the world stage is a reflection of an internal state of affairs. So we are witnessing something of intergenerational harm inherited and passed along and along and along. And I do not know of any government that is not responsible for such atrocities, equal to that Russia is now doing in Ukraine. All governments seem to be culpable and responsible for creating such harm. War of all kinds keeps visiting harm upon people, upon new generation after generation, where the wounds do not get healed, they just get passed on and on and on. So really, we need to be speaking about healing and how to heal from these generational harms caused by wars, by oppression, by governments, by all kinds of terrors that people grow up with. One thing that I took to do in response to the global news about the war in Ukraine is not just wearing my sunflower earrings, the flower of Ukraine, but I took to writing a letter, an open letter to Vladimir Putin. And I will read that for you now. Mr. Putin, I have unwelcome news for you. You are like a kitten on a staircase, hiding only his face, thinking his whole self hidden. The naked truth of your traumatic childhood is clearly and painfully visible to the world in your unjustifiable invasion of the peaceful, sovereign nation of Ukraine. You have woven a transparent cocoon of false narrative that only you truly believe. You pretend you are strong and whole and have honorable intentions. One people is your battle cry, while not comprehending the irony that it is your own right hand inflicting mortal wounds to your left with gusto. You are not to blame for the terrors you suffered as a child. You are, however, completely responsible for the horrors you are currently inflicting on your innocent neighbors during this monstrous massacre. There is an unfortunate ego-massaging misnomer popular in political discourse today that likely was influential to the formation of your identity in the absence of your fathers. The idea term strong man, enticing though it sounds, actually points to anything but. For all dictators, admirers of dictators, and would-be dictators, if given half a chance, are deeply wounded children, seeking ultimate control over others to compensate for the imprinting of an out-of-control childhood dominated by fear, abuse, abandonment, and rejection. Thus, it is only weak men that need to create a false image, that seek to deceive and manipulate, that do not honor boundaries, who have insatiable greed, who silence those that would speak truth, who remove by any means those that challenge the authority they crave to have over others, who fear, envy the independence, wealth, and happiness of neighbors, who point fingers at others while committing atrocities. These are the actions of cowardice. How do I know this? Because those that are raised well, Mr. Putin, do not do these things. If you have good parenting, good, honest role models, you turn out to be a truly strong man, a brave man, an honest man, a man with integrity and compassion for all. The cross you wear around your neck, Mr. Putin, is symbolic of such a man. Yet that cross will not protect you from your hubris, not from your unconscious projections of your fear and pain onto the Ukrainian people. For you already are living in hell, cut off from your heart and your soul. Yet, I pause here to thank you for being such an apt reminder to the world that we must care for all of our children, lest they turn out to be like you. This is the true lesson of this moment in time. We must reprioritize our business as usual hierarchy where profits over people at all costs thrive at the top of our fictitious pyramid of insatiable and not sustainable growth, to where we put our children's care, education, nurture, and security, all children, at the top of our priority list. Also, alongside this, caring for mothers, especially single mothers, and caring too for fathers, educating them to be caregivers, allowing them time off from work to be those caregivers, making sure that our society is structured in a way where those that have children have enough financially to care for those children. For fathers are also an extremely necessary part of raising a healthy child, male or female. For truly, Mr. Putin, we are all one people of this fragile and beautiful planet, our home, our shared motherland. Yes, Mr. Putin, the kitten is out of the bag. And we see you clearly. Hurt people, Mr. Putin. This is a phrase that describes very accurately what you have been doing. Likely your whole life in one way or another. And now, to quote your parents, the ones you claim. It is time for you to mind your own business and get out of Ukraine's. Thank you. Signed, Reverend Montclair. It is International Women's Month. This letter was written March 8th, International Women's Day. If you are male and happen to be seeing this and wondering why women need a day or a month to honor them, when there is no male International Men's Day, it is because for over 2,000 years, every day has been Men's Day. And it is time to balance, like the equinox, the disproportionate value placed on men and bring also the value of the feminine into equal balance. Everything of nature is balanced in this way. Plants, animals, the earth herself with her poles is a mix of opposites. So the opposites within us also need to come together. Opposite ideas that we have about the male and the female have to come together. Because truly, inherent in each of us is the masculine and the feminine, is the gentle and the hard, is the possible and the impossible. We must unify these opposites at this time of the equinox to bring them forward throughout generation to generation. We must stop fighting. We're looking for an enemy. The enemy is not outside. The enemy is one we need to tame within ourselves. It is the fears. It is the generational trauma that we were brought up with, whether it was handed down from generation to generation or if it was first generation. It is our task to heal these wounds so that we do not keep on visiting these wounds on others through generations. And with war, not only are the people being killed, the animals are being killed, the clean air and water and earth herself is being killed. It is time we outgrow this way of obviously not trying to reconcile our differences, but to assert our power over. It is time to assert our power under the mask of our inadequacies. It is time to take off that mask, own our limitations, own our own wounds, and stop inflicting those wounds on others. This is Monday Church with Reverend Montclair. Thank you. Have a beautiful day and live from your heart.